Shut the cell phone off so it quit dinging.
All right, I think we are live.
Shut the cell phone off.
Perfect. So, okay, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Driving Success in the Freight Industry. I'm your host, Calais Poteet, and today we have a special guest, Mr. Shane McKinney, who's here to share valuable insights on freight strategies for the trucking industry. But before we dive into the exciting world of freight, let's take a moment to understand the challenges our trucking experts face. I'd like to welcome Mr. Shane McKinney. Could you give us a brief overview of who you are, your company, and everything that you've kind of been through so far? Just give everybody that's just listening and tuning in a update and introduction on everything that you have going on.
All right, thanks, Clay. My name's Shane McKinney, owner, founder, and creator of Freight Medic Logistics LLC. More of a brand. Freight Medic Logistics is a freight brokerage. Subsidiaries of Freight Medic is Load for You One dispatch service. We also have FML masterclass training programs. And we have DR 911 driver recruiting, driver lease operator recruiting, and basic equipment recovery. So we started out about a little less than 5 years ago. Me and a partner of mine decided we were going to try and be freight brokers, thinking, oh, how hard could it be? Well, we started doing the legwork, started doing the cold calling, the mass emails, the mass mailings, going door to door to these places, and it posed to be very difficult. I started working as a freight agent for someone, and the whole reason that we started this was to try and help the industry. I've got 30 years in, and I'll say it like I've always said it, is when I was a kid, somebody broke down on the side of the road, first person that stopped be a truck driver, whether it was to call for help or to get out and help. Now you can be at that same spot. If there's a mud puddle out there, don't get out and look at that car, because you're going to get drenched, because they ain't going to stop. And the biggest reason for it is just lack of knowledge and inexperience in the industry. So we started our business with intentions of helping. I started working as a broker agent for another company, and I knew that the industry was predatory, but when I seen some of the stuff that was going on with that brokerage, it was just astounding. And I ended up leaving, and I decided, you know what? Let me start out with the dispatching. I can actually help the carriers out more with my dispatching and being able to consult them and guide them as to dispatching is not a necessity, first and foremost. Guys, the carriers out there, they don't need you. They can do it themselves. Is it easier to have a dispatching company? As long as the dispatching company knows what they're doing, absolutely 100%. These guys, you'll see it all over social media, people bashing dispatch companies. Well, they're bashing them because they've gotten these people that are charging 2% and 3%, and all they're doing is picking the first load they see. It's got a garbage rate on it. They're putting them on it. And hey, I got you covered. And then they leave them alone. That's, there's nothing further than that. We go as far, we'll go to bat for them for accessorial fees. I've been in 2-week long battles trying to collect accessorial fees for them. I've actually been, I'd like to, according to the factoring companies, I'm probably one of the most successful in collecting those accessorial fees. I had one factoring company actually denied to pay one. I had a Tanu for a flatbedder in Minnesota. He was supposed to be at the pickup on Friday. He got there on time. The job site shut down. Said, oh, it'll be Saturday. So we said, all right, well, we'll stick around. We'll wait for you. Saturday came, nothing. Saturday evening came. Oh, well, we're going to have to cancel it because it can't get it loaded until Tuesday. Me and that broker were on the phone, and it just so happened that me and this broker were on the phone at 4 o'clock in the morning, every morning through the weekend discussing this. Ended up getting the guy, I think it was $2,900 for the weekend for Tanu, and the the factoring company refused to pay it. They said they'd never seen anything like that in all their years of being in business.
Wow.
So I had to contact the broker, have the broker get in touch with the factoring company, and they actually honored it eventually. So,
Mm.
but it's as a dispatch company, and I know most of the people on here, dispatch masters, that's pretty much what you're concerned, what you're concentrated on. In order to be, you see how many members you have. Everybody's interested in dispatching.
Mm.
You have to set yourself apart from everybody else.
Mm.
There's got to be something that you do different and you do better than what everybody else does, because everybody else out there is trying to get the same that same nut that everybody's trying to get. All the carriers out there, and the carriers know it, and the carriers know that you're not a necessity.
Mm.
So
That makes sense. That makes sense. And if anybody is watching, if you have questions for Mr. Shane, please drop them in the comments. Well, Mr. Shane, I'm glad you're here. I wanted to ask you, just starting off, what was your big aha moment in the industry?
in the industry or getting started?
Probably just getting started. Yeah, we got a lot of new people in here. Of course,
Getting started. Getting started. I kicked the idea around probably for 5 to 7 years, talking myself out of it, looking at, no, talking myself out of it. And then just one day, she said to me, she says, look, if you wanted, because I was always wanting to do something on the side. I'd work a full-time job, but I wanted to start something that would be mine. I could gauge my extra income, diversify. And my wife said to me, she goes, you've always been in trucking. That's what you know. Why don't you do something in trucking? So that's when I decided I started to try the brokerage and then went into the dispatching. And it's really it's snowballed from there. I'm part of an affiliate program where I've been working with the same service providers for the whole entire time that I've been in business. All non-predatory. It's a one big support network for our clients. And I mean, it's the customer service aspect of it is second to none. I mean, it's, we got guys that, they may only take utilize one service from the service providers, but yet they get the access of everybody's support. You and if you can't get a hold of your particular service provider, then you get a hold of me, or you get a hold of, and we get the job done. I mean, we all work as a team. So, and that's that I think that trucking as a rule has lost. I mean, there used to be so much camaraderie in trucking, guys helping one another, and now everybody's too concerned about filming people screwing up and putting it on social media. There's nobody's out there willing to give a hand. They're wanting to tell you the wrong information.
Right. Awesome. Of course,
So,
the name of the group is Dispatch Masters, but we do have a lot of different transportation companies inside of the group. Permit companies, compliance companies, recruiting companies, owner operators, small and mid-sized fleet owners. I'm pretty sure we got a little bit of everybody in here right now. I would also like to ask you, just kind of exploring some of the challenges you've encountered as far as, just your tenure inside of the industry. What are some of the challenges that you're kind of experiencing right now? And can you help us understand how these challenges came about in the first place?
well, the spot market, spot market is just absolute. I mean, it's horrible. But if you look back 3 years ago, pre-pandemic, we're not that far off from what the rates were pre-pandemic. The only difference is now is the economy's taking a hit. Our fuel's higher. Our insurance are higher. Brokers, I mean, anybody that's carrying insurance or surety bonds, everything's went up. Right now, a big problem in the industry is double brokering and theft of freight. They just busted a company out in California. I believe it was last week, over $50 million of stolen freight in warehouses. We deal with a broker in upstate New York, and they've changed their whole criteria for what they need for signing new carriers on, because in the last month they've had 3 loads of beer stolen. So there's a lot of, just, I don't want to say fraudulent, but a lot of shady activity going on in the industry. And these double brokers, they've got a whole a whole network. They get the authority for the carrier, then they get the authority for the broker. Well, now they've even got factoring companies that are associated with them and working with them, saying that yes, they're good companies. And the FMCSA, with their regulations, your surety bond goes out as a broker and you have 30 days to get it renewed. Well, these guys, they're double brokering freight, skimming all year long. And then when their authority goes, when they lose their surety bond, they have 30 days that they can move as much freight as they can, and they ain't got to pay nobody nothing at the end of it.
Okay. So, what have you done in the past to kind of address these challenges? I know that they're getting a little bit back to pre-COVID levels. What did you do around that time to kind of, move away from those challenges?
Well, with the spot market, you just got to be versatile. You got a lot of, and it's unfortunate, but a lot of the carriers now, the drivers, I should say, not so much the carriers. A lot of the drivers are picky about where they want to go. I don't want to go here. I don't want to go there. When it snows, I want to stay down south. I don't want to go to the Northeast. Well, you know what? When you're doing that, you're limiting your revenue. By having somebody that doesn't want to go into the Northeast, you want to go up into Jersey, Pennsylvania, anywhere like that. There's good rates up there. Maybe not great, but they're better than what the regular spot market is. So not going up there, you're pigeonholing yourself into staying into the spot market. If you got the guys in the wintertime, oh no, I want to run south. Well, guess what? Every other trucker in the world wants to run south too. So now you've got more trucks down there. You got less freight down there. And the rates, they coincide with one another. So the rates are going to go down. You got a guy that doesn't care to run through the snow and the ice and wants to run up north, then he's going to make a better rate than what the guys that are, all wanting to stay down in sunny Florida. When the pandemic hit, we had a lot of long haulers that we were working with, and they liked doing that 3-4 day run where they only had to stop, at a shipper or receiver once every 3 or 4 days. Well, when the pandemic hit, it flipped the rates completely. When it first hit, the rates just fell out. They were gone. So in order to get those guys that revenue, we would put them on multiple short hops during the day. So they might get 2 or 3 short hops in and be able to clear as much money as they were going on them long runs, because the long runs were only paying 70, 80 cents a mile. So we would put them on the short hops and they'd be able to still keep the revenue. They weren't too happy about having to do all the stops, but they were able to continue with their revenue. So it's just about being able to notice how to diversify and how to adjust to the market.
All right. We're having a little glitch here. But tell me, how have these
Yeah, I seen that.
How have these market challenges kind of affected your business growth and your financial stability?
It's affected it because you get a lot. When things are good, everybody's good. When things get tough, that's when, everybody starts looking and they're counting their pennies just like you are. So it's affected everyone. I've actually taken the opportunity, I tell our carriers, look, trucking's like a roller coaster. You're not going to stay high all the time. You're not going to stay low all the time. It's going to go up and down. So when you're hitting those highs, you make sure to prepare for those lows. If you do, you'll be able to weather the storm. Most of them get complacent and don't prepare. you know. So when it gets tough, then you got guys that are like, oh, well, that's 7% you're charging me for dispatching, and my 3.5% for factoring. That's or my 3% for fact. That's 10%. No, I can do better doing it on my own. Every
Mm.
one of them I've talked to that have done that, you know, I'll be taught. They'll call me up. Yeah, what are you doing? Oh, I'm sitting. I can't find a load. They'll be sitting for 2 or 3 days. That's what you avoid. I mean, yeah, okay, you might have got a good rate on the dollar or on the mile, but if you're sitting for 2 and 3 days after you delivered it, you've just burnt up every progress you made. You've wasted it because
Mm.
now you've spent 5 days for the amount of money that you only made for two. So, and I mean, it comes to the point where you got to start fluctuating a little bit as to how you look at it. Are you looking at it by the mile, or are you going to be looking at it by the day?
Right. Right. Okay. How do you envision your business and your personal life kind of once these market issues are resolved?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I said, how do you envision your business and personal life once these market issues are resolved?
Well, the market issues, I can't say that they'll ever be completely resolved. I mean, you're always going to have your up and down market. Um, my personal life and my business, I mean, my business kind of overtakes my personal life a lot of the time just because that's the industry that we're in. I mean, it's not a 9 to 5 job. If you're going to be a dispatcher, it's you're going to get calls at 4 in the morning. You're going to get calls at 2 in the morning. You have to be available. You are basically the support network for your driver. Your driver does what he has to do in the truck and at the truck, and you do everything else for him outside of the truck. I mean, you're his lifeline. And a lot of these guys, they don't have nobody else. They're owner operators. They're single truck operations. For instance, I had one. God rest his soul, good guy. He had an incident and it paralyzed him. He had a load shift on him. And as a dispatcher, you don't ask for their family information when you're hired. When you're signing your agreements with them. It took me 2 weeks to get a hold of his family and find them.
Mm.
And I mean, it's just so it's tough. I mean, you go over and beyond. I mean, these guys, they rely on you. It's not just you're not just booking loads. It's way more than that.
Right. Okay, that's wonderful to hear, Mr. Shane. Just kind of visualizing the positive outcomes can be incredibly motivating. Well, tell me this. You spoke a little bit about commitment that plays a crucial role. Um, is it what kind of advice would you give for a new trucking company starting now, a dispatching company starting now, and kind of what would you do differently if you were just starting out?
I'm sorry you broke up in that. I think we're having a glitch again.
Uh-oh. Let me check. See. Okay, Mr. Shane, we're back.
All right,
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
that's all right.
Yeah. So where was I? I had a question. Yeah, you spoke a little bit about time commitment playing a crucial role. Um, what kind of advice would you have for a new dispatcher starting out or a new trucking company starting out, and kind of what would you do differently if you could go back to when you first started?
If I could go back to when I first started,
Yeah.
I would have probably, I would have still worked for the other agent being a broker agent. I don't think I would have concentrated on trying to start my own brokering agency up. I think I would have my own brokerage. I would have went directly to dispatching, creating getting a freight brokerage started. There's a lot more entailed. It's very similar to the processes that a carrier goes through. Actually, in some aspects, it's a lot more difficult. Getting a brokerage set up it takes a lot longer to build credit. It's a lot harder to actually get someone that's willing to work with you when you're new. If you've got that opportunity, then that's great. If you've got an in with a company, a shipper or something that'll give you an opportunity, that's awesome. Then my hat's off to you. But if you're starting out and you don't have any of those avenues to take and you're wanting to get into the industry, first and foremost, I'd say educate yourself. Educate yourself as much as you can. Just watch YouTube videos. Don't just, don't just take one training course. Take a bunch of them. I mean, I took 3 or 4 training courses and I knew how to dispatch. I mean, sometimes I've got my own training course and I'll still purchase someone else's just to see what they've got in theirs. Just to see if maybe I missed something or maybe there's something else that, maybe something, listen, anybody that says that they know everything about trucking, they need to hang it up and go home because there's no way. It changes every single day. So, as far as personal life, I mean, I'm kind of a dedicated individual, and I know that when I was in the truck, I would have I yearned for somebody to be that dedicated for me. Unfortunately, I was a company driver, and my dispatchers went home at a certain time. I didn't have nobody to call, so I had to do it on my own. So, and that's there's a big difference in the drivers today and the drivers back in the day. A lot of them, a lot of these guys that start their own carriers, and not all. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of the guys get this misconception that I'm going to start my own authority. I'm going to work 3 days a week, and I'm going to be able to make enough to make it happen. Or I'm going to be able to work Monday through Friday. And I try to explain to a lot of these new carriers when we get them, it's like, listen, when they call me, oh, I want to be home Monday through Friday. Well, you can do that, but you're cutting your revenue by 50%. And they're like, well, how do you figure? I'm still moving. Yeah, well, you've limited your areas and you've limited your revenue to the spot market in the area that will get you a day and a half, 2 days away from home and then straight back. You've pigeonholed yourself into what's available right there. You stay out for 2 weeks at a time. Now you've got a chance to bounce around into some other lanes. And a lot of guys understand it. A lot of guys just, that's not what they want. So, I mean, if my opinion, anybody starting becoming a carrier, your first 6 months, plan on running as hard as you can run, because everything's going to be against you, between not having brokers that'll work with you to not having ends. Now the big thing is, if you don't have an inspection like every 90 days or 6 months, won't quit you because they don't know if you're a double brokering carrier or not. They want those on file with the CSA, with the FMCSA, so that they can see that you're actually a legitimate carrier. And we have ran into struggles like that big time. A lot of these guys are scared to pull into a scale house and say, hey, listen, give me an inspection. So, but it also limits it could take you 10 times longer trying to find a load for them, and that's dispatcher. Again, not just carriers, not just brokers, but everybody, no matter what entity you're looking to get into in the industry, educate yourself. I cannot emphasize that enough. The more education you get, the better it's going to be for you, and the more of a resource you're going to be for your clients.
Totally agree. I am a big, we keep the culture of our group based on education. We hope to get the best information out there to help as many people as we can. And I constantly reinvest into personal development, business development, coaching, business coaching, mentorships, programs. I love it. So I definitely feel like a lot of courses sometimes can point people in the right direction. And some things are meant to, elevate them to that next point of scaling. And that brings me to my next question. How, when it comes to commitment, we need to kind of address financial resources, assuming everything, kind of falls into play. what are some of the financial resources that a new company needs to kind of have as far as dispatching and owner operators just getting started?
Well, I mean, you've got a big difference there in financial resources, of necessity of financial resources versus dispatching and being a carrier. Being a common carrier, you need some serious capital to start out. If not, I'll give you a perfect for instance. There was a company that had some money troubles and went bankrupt, and they reopened. And I guess the first company that went bankrupt, for whatever reason, 3 of their trucks got destroyed. They had 6 trucks altogether. They were able to piece out of the 6, they were able to piece 3 together. Were able to get some financial backing from a bank or wherever, I'm not sure, and reopen their business. Well, there were 3 individuals that were involved in this company, and they came to us and asked us to dispatch them. We were dispatching them, and one load that we took, it was a newer broker that had agreed to pay them. They said it was okay to take it. We explained to them everything. Listen, the factoring company won't approve it. This is how you're going. They'll pay you a quick pay. Their quick pay, I think, took 7 days to pay, which is a little odd. It's not really a quick pay, but then I got the guy calling me, telling me, "Oh, I couldn't pay my mortgage payment because I didn't make." I says, "Listen, hold on. Your truck's been running for 1 week, and you're expecting to take profit from that truck for 3 people for 1 week, and you're having to pay a driver too. It's impossible. You
Right.
can't go in on a shoestring budget and expect to get an immediate return. It's impossible with the amount of fuel that you got to purchase, with the amount of insurance that you have. My biggest my biggest suggestion to a new carrier or someone that's even thinking about becoming a carrier, sit down with someone like myself. And this is stuff that I don't charge for. I don't, somebody calls me, says they're wanting to become a carrier or wanting to start a trucking company. Come sit down. I'll talk to you about it. I'm not going to blow smoke at you and call it sunshine. I'm going to be straight up and transparent with you. Tell you, look, this is where you're going to be. This is what you need. If you can't have that, then you need to hold off, stay where you're at until you do. You know, 90%, I'd be safe to say 90% of the trucking companies out there don't know what their cost to operate is. That's a problem. Now you're guessing, $2 a mile sounds good. Okay. Yeah. Well, if it costs you $2.50 to run your truck because you're so upside down, then you're just prolonging the inevitable. So you're out there working for nothing, killing yourself. So my biggest thing is sit down with a carrier, go over their financials. I don't need to know what money they have, but listen, this is what you're going to need. Let's get a quote on your insurance. All right, let's get what type of truck you're driving, what miles per gallon is it going to get, an average. All right, how many miles you plan on doing, every week. Do that into a month. Now you getting into your cost to operate. Now dispatching, when it comes to that, it's minimal. It depends on how much marketing you want to do. It depends on how much education you have in the industry. I would not suggest, even myself, if I was to do it, I would not stop working I would have to have some other form of income. You can't just go straight into dispatching and expect it to sustain a family. It takes a while to build that up. Me myself, I was working nights. I'd come home, I'd dispatch during the day. It was me and a partner, and we would trade off during the day. We both worked nights.
Perfect. So,
but and then we started hiring dispatchers.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Outside of just dispatching and being a carrier or owner operator, what are some other ways inside of transportation that you think are very lucrative lanes to kind of tap into?
Well, I mean, as a dispatch, well, eh, I know you said not as a dispatcher, but as a dispatcher, um, you can make diversified income as well. You get involved with an affiliate network. That makes you a bigger resource to your clientele, makes you more appealing to the people that your prospective clients. Other entities in the
Oh,
insurance and sell insurance through, that's that's a big numbers money getter there.
okay, perfect. So it's essential to recognize that procrastination and indecision often costs more than making a well-informed decision.
Oh yes.
Just barring any unforeseen circumstances, is there anything that could potentially, hinder new, new trucking entrepreneurs, as they're kind of just getting started right now?
Well, I mean, there's plenty that can hinder them. The fact that a lot of guys don't listen or a lot of guys just don't know the process of applying for an authority. In the very beginning, if you don't know the timeline on an authority, you could be paying your first month's insurance premium and not even be able to drive the truck. And if you don't know what permits and stuff to apply for, you may be paying a second month's insurance premium and not even moving the truck. And then now you tapped into your working capital a little bit. Now you're starting to get a little hot under the collar. You don't know what to do. Now you're out there. Now you get your truck running, and there's only a handful of brokers that'll work with you, and you got to hope that they've got something in your area.
Hmm.
Looks like you cut out again there, bud.
All right, 1 second. All right. Golly, it's crazy today. Okay, perfect. So yeah, Mr. Shane, just give us a little bit more insight on exactly what you've been working on so far, what you have coming up. Is there anything that you kind of want to leave with our audience tonight?
Yeah. Basically, like as I stated, Load For You One is my dispatch company. It's been around for going on 5 years now. Freight Medic Logistics, that's my brokerage. That's basically that's our corporation. We really don't. I haven't done anything through the brokerage because of the current rates. I'm a carrier allegiance type of company. I'm not going to go out there and compete with these big brokers chopping the legs out from underneath a carrier to make a dollar. I've got the brokerage. It's gaining age now. I'm sustaining with my other stuff. So I'll leave that, let it grow age. And when things start getting better, when I got the capacity for it, then I'll move forward with the brokerage. But I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it off of a carrier's coattails. I'm going to be out there to help the carrier, not hinder them. So we have DR 911. That's our driver recruiting. We seen within 3 months, we had 2 carriers that went through 6 different drivers that they were getting from recruiting companies. anything from drug addicts to thieves to absolutely destroying the trucks and leaving the trucks abandoned. So I've partnered with a third party background screening corporation that we do probably one of the most extensive background screenings on applicants known. We do DAC reports, we do the PSPs, the CDLIS, everything. 7 years on criminal background, 3 years on drug offenses. The consortium, you name it, you're getting checked on it if you're applying through us. Is it going to limit a lot of the applicants? Yes, but it's also going to provide quality professional truck drivers to our clients. In that being said, we also offer equipment recovery. We're not repo specialists. We're not working with the banks and going and taking trucks when people don't pay for them. I'm not into that. We're out there strictly to help the carrier. If the carrier had somebody that was sick, we as a dispatcher, I've had guys have to be taken to the hospital, and the load sits there for a week or two before it can get delivered. Well, we try and give the opportunity to where, okay, help save face of the authority so that the brokers aren't upset and blackballing them because they didn't get the load delivered, and give the carrier peace of mind by getting the truck back to where they know where it's at. Too many of these trucks being vandalized, destroyed, sitting somewhere, nobody knows where they're at, or they get towed away and impounded, and the owner don't even know where they're at because nobody's notifying them. So but if you don't mind, Cleet, I'll put my links and stuff up on the on your Facebook page, and if anybody wants to follow any of our social media, we'd be happy to have them. We try and put some decent content out there too. We're working on a big marketing campaign now. Basically, with the stale market, that's what I've been concentrating on. Kind of expanding our operations and concentrating on the marketing. If I'm able to sustain all of that while we're slow, then when the market comes back, hopefully we're going to be a good name that people are going to trust and people are going to know about, and they're going to have some, we'll be able to provide them a good quality service.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Tell me a little bit about your marketing efforts. Do you plan on doing Facebook ads or just kind of organic methods, or what does that kind of look like?
Up until now, basically everything's been me on Facebook. Basically just getting into conversations and putting out factual information. I mean, let's face it, Facebook, social media, you get a lot of armchair quarterbacks, and
right,
people that read into it, they really got to think, if this person is there so much talking about what good rates he's getting and how many good runs he's getting, and he's making this $1 million, but he's on that damn computer all day long, when's he working? I mean, so you got to be careful. You got to read between the lines with the stuff that's posted on social media. You got to do your due diligence, with dispatch training. Dispatch training is I mean, I've been on, all kinds of different pages, and 1 week somebody will be asking how to get into dispatching. 6 weeks later, they've got a dispatch company, and now they're training people to dispatch. And it's like, and I mean, I'm a bad one. I'll get on and I'll be like, okay, from what experience are you training from? And it gets under people's skin, but listen, be transparent. That's the biggest thing with this industry that's lost is transparency. Everybody's trying to be cloak and dagger. The brokers, everyone. I mean, you got the factoring companies trying to take advantage of the carrier, lock them into, unreasonable contracts. You got the brokers not being transparent about what the rates that they're actually getting, trying to beat everybody up. I had a big discussion just the other day, with Memorial Day weekend coming up. As a dispatcher, we see how it works. All the carriers are wanting to get home. The drivers are wanting to get home for the holiday. So the brokers see that, and the rates fall out about Tuesday the week before. So then Now they'll fall out, they'll stay out until about Wednesday after the holiday, because they know everybody's looking to get back out of the house and start making some money on Tuesday.
Right.
And it's a cat and mouse game that really shouldn't be. It doesn't have to be. Unfortunately, there's only a few of us trying to change it, and trying to get everybody together to do something is very difficult.
That is true. I like to set realistic expectations. I'm a firm believer in that. I like to, I guess, over deliver and under promise a lot of times. I know what my super genius is. I know everybody, I try to help everybody kind of tap into their super geniuses. Of course, with business operations, just starting off, there's a lot of solopreneurs, people that's potentially going to be wearing a lot of hats just starting off. You're going to be doing the marketing, you're going to be looking for carriers, you're going to be looking for, different clients if you're offering different carrier services. So I do believe transparency is super important. If you're new, you're new. And that's kind of why we like to be advocates for attracting your ideal client, right? Of course, everybody won't be a good fit for your business model. There's going to be a lot of people that just won't mesh. You won't have a good business relationship with. So, it only makes sense to kind of attract the people that resonate with you the most. So when it comes to with marketing and just setting realistic expectations, I feel that's very super important. But one more thing, Mr. Shane, I wanted to ask you. I know you said that you were thinking about starting a podcast, and I think I wanted to kind of dive into your mentorship just a little bit. If someone were to reach out to you for mentorship, what can they expect? And just give them a little bit more information on that.
Well, I'll tell you, I've got a couple of them that I've kind of taken under my wing, and just about every one of them that I work with now. I've had guys that I've been dispatching for 2 years plus. One of them in particular, he started out with a power only, and within the first 6 months, we got him a trailer. Within the first year and a half, he had 4 trucks and 4 trailers. So from my dispatch company, none of that. If you call me, you hire me to dispatch, you hire my company, you sign an agreement with my dispatching company, you're going to get it all. It's not just dispatching. I don't just book loads and then that's it. If I see something that I need to give you a heads up on, I'm going to give it to you. If you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it, but I'm going to tell you, listen, man, you need to watch. That one of my carriers just hired a driver. Driver got his first paycheck, was out on the road, and just went MIA.
Wow.
Then all of a sudden called in, 3 blown tires, 2 cracked rims within like 2 days. And then his windshield got shattered in front of his face.
Oh, man.
I told the carrier, I said, there's some funny business going on, man. I says, I laid it out, and the carrier's like, I never thought about it that way. I said, I've seen too much, man. And unfortunately the guy now has no job, but it's a shame. The stuff that you see go on, it's but as far as your marketing, like you'd asked me before, I didn't mean to dovetail off of that, but the marketing, basically all my marketing's been self-done, through Facebook, handing out business cards at truck stops, cold calling, getting on different social media, sending emails, contacting whoever I could contact. There's a couple good databases online that you can go by city and state and look up what trucking companies are there, what type of trucks they have, how many trucks they have, how many drivers they have, and you can solicit them like that. I believe it's Quick Transport's the website, and but now I'm not real. When I started this, I wasn't very technical savvy at all.
Gotcha.
Even to this day, I'm not. They asked me what TMS system I use. It's right here, man. Mead spiral bound. So I mean, I'm moving towards getting more into the technology parts of it. You know, as they'll see, I've got Instagram, I've got Twitter, I've got Facebook, you know, I've got my websites built, you know. It's been a slow process, but it's all come around, you know, and it's the biggest thing that I could suggest to anybody between education and networking. That's going to, you got to have that gift to get out there and talk about what you're doing,
Mm.
share your knowledge with other people, and network with people that got more knowledge than you.
Mm.
Because listen, I don't know everything about everything in trucking,
Right.
but if I don't have the answer to it, I know who the hell to go to get it. You know, so I mean, and that's a major resource for people.
Right. Right. Definitely. And that's kind of what we created our group to be. I believe Facebook groups are the number one way to engage with communities, build that carrier network that those, and it just kind of becomes a hub for resources. You know, and you meet so many people through having those meaningful conversations, people that, you know, can make a huge impact in your life and your businesses. So that's why we are so adamant on communities, community engagement, building networks around community and education, so that we all can kind of come together and collaborate and make sure that we can get the right resources out, you know, help people as much as we can. And that's kind of what kind of just shows strength in the industry. It's just people coming together, right? I see a lot of those type of comments in other groups. You know, it's hard to get people to come together, and but you know, when you have platforms such as ours, you know, and it's a lot of people that's currently engaged on a daily basis, you know, I think that us just doing our part of getting, you know, people that's been around for a while, that have the information, that have that experience and exposure to come and just share and just give as much as they can, so that way it sticks in the back of their minds. And, you know, before they, you know, when they get into that decision-making process, they can actually pull that back up to the forefront and make a very educated decision. You know, I believe there's nothing worse than an uneducated decision. But yeah, Mr. Shane, I'm definitely glad you hopped on with me tonight. Is there anything else that you kind of wanted us to know, or anybody seeing
I was
this?
just going to dovetail off what you were just saying is, you know, people just starting out. The problem is there's so many predators out there that are not telling you the truth. They're telling you what you want to hear. So that unfortunately, do the cold calling too much anymore. But you know, a lot of these affiliate programs, that's what they do. I mean, you get the new authority entry list, you start calling on it, or you text blast. But these guys are so annoying. You know, listen, when I open my brokerage, I got the same thing. So carriers, don't worry about it. I mean, I still get phone calls that I ain't supposed to be getting, you know, but it's the thing is we need to have a platform where it's well known that, hey, listen, you can trust these guys. And that's what I'm working on trying to build on my end. I'm trying to, you know, I mean, I've got carriers that no longer work for me. Matter of fact, today, their driver called me. He broke down. He don't call his boss, and I have no affiliation with this company no more. I don't dispatch them. But I'm not going to leave the guy hanging out there. He lost his key. It was an older Volvo. He got a key cut from the code, went in, couldn't get it. He says it turned once. I says, listen, don't call a locksmith. You need to go get an ignition switch. I said the tumblers are worn. That key was worn. You'll never match at it. You call a locksmith, you're gonna be wasting your money. You're still gonna have to put a switch in it. Just call and get a key switch put in it. You know, I mean, what did it take me? It took me 10 minutes to answer that text. Boom, 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 and then explain it to him. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna leave somebody hanging like that. And that's what we need more of in this industry, is people that are willing to listen, give a couple minutes, help somebody out. Don't sit there and make fun of them. Ha, you lost your damn key. What's wrong with you? No, that there was no need for any of that. You know what I mean? So, and that's, I mean, I was fortunate when I first started out with my dispatching that I got involved with the truckers affiliate program. And there's a couple of their affiliates that are part of the dispatch masters.
Okay.
And I got to say, out of all of them that I've looked at, they hold strong to trying to provide non-predatory service providers and a continued support program for the carriers. I mean, they're vested in the interest of them, but their business is being successful.
Right.
So, and that's what the industry needs. We need, not just one group. I mean, hell, there's enough in there for everybody. We just need to push these damn predatory businesses out. You know.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I definitely got a lot of those phone calls when I started my authority as well. Um, I know what that's like. It got very annoying, so we try not to do any cold calling, no cold emails. Typically, if I get on the phone, there's nothing cold about it. And that's what we're just trying to usher in a new wave of helping dispatchers and transportation companies that are client-based, actually put a marketing strategy and system together to where, it increases their predictability and they have a way to kind of attract, their ideal clients and, just be able to nurture those relationships and really have meaningful relationships and really understand if they can help someone to begin with. So that's what we've
Well,
been.
let me ask you then.
Sir.
Let me ask you with your marketing campaign.
So
How do you predict a revenue in the current market the way that it is?
So for us, we have what we call the
I'm
group.
turning around on you now.
So what we have is a group income calculator. So the group income calculator lets us know based on, because we track our KPIs, which is the key performance indicators. Also track, how many new group members we need at a certain price point that will allow us to know or reach our goals, our monthly income goals. So based on, let's just say that I had a offer for 2,500 and I wanted to make 25,000 that month. I know based on my calculations that I need at least about 400 new group members a month, which is 13 group members a day. There's so many calls that I need to make, my sales team needs to make, and we need to be able to close at a certain 40% rate, right? And if I can do that, if I have the system in place, structured right, and I'm getting those qualified leads, right? So we want to qualify the people and make sure everybody's not going to be a good fit, right? It's not going to help everybody. We do have resources that, kind of tailored to where people are in their businesses. But based on the structure of the business model, we are able to enhance their business model, be able to help them raise their prices, refine their offer, and then focus on exactly who their audience will be. We believe if we're talking to many, then we're talking to none. So we have to be very intentional when we are looking for our ideal client. But that's how we kind of project our revenue goals based on our group method.
I figured I'd throw it back at you a little bit there, man.
Yeah, if you have any questions for me, please, we can kind of take it anywhere you want right now.
Well, no, listen, I appreciate you having me on, man. Again, it's, trying to share some education, share some knowledge. I'm all about that. I got a little bit of knowledge of a lot of stuff, so.
Gotcha, man. Well, I definitely enjoyed having you on, Mr. Shane. And if you have any questions or if you want to, give any more insight before we leave, feel free. I'll drop all the links to get in contact with you in the comment section inside the group. But is there anything else that you wanted to add before we kind of cut off for the night?
Not really, man. Like I said, I appreciate the opportunity. I hope that I was able to share some knowledge with some, that somebody may not have had. And if anybody's if they've got any questions or to help out. So
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mr. Shane. It's been a pleasure. And feel free to reach out to us with any questions, and I'll be hoping to talk to you soon.
all right, sounds good, bud. Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night.